So as for the part 3 of my presentation, I will be discussing to you the curriculum approaches, the Philippine experience. So let me have first a short historical background of our curriculum in the Philippines. So before 1521, we have the education before the coming of the Spaniards. From 1521 to 1896, we have the education during the Spanish regime. From 1898 to 1899 is the education during Philippine Revolution. From 1899 to 1935 is the education during the American occupation. 1935 to 1941, we have the education during the Philippine Commonwealth. 1941 to 1944 is the education during the Japanese occupation. From 1945 to 1946, we have the education after World War II, and 1946 up to the present is the education under the Philippine Republic. So let us get to know what took place during the said period. So the pre-Spanish curriculum, the Filipinos possessed a curriculum of their own. They had contacts with other foreign peoples from Arabia, India, China, Indochina, and Borneo. The inhabitants were civilized people, possessing their systems of writing, laws, and moral standards in a well-organized government. As shown in the rule of barangays, their code of laws, their belief in Bathala, and the solidarity of family, where obedience and respect had been practiced. The Spanish missionaries aimed to control Filipinos both in body and soul. That was during the pre-Spanish devised curriculum. So the curriculum was consisted of 3 R's, which are the reading, writing, and religion, to attain goals that are the acceptance of Catholicism and the acceptance of Spanish rule. So during the pre-Spanish devised curriculum, the schools were parochial or convent schools. The main readings was catechism, and the method of instruction was mainly individual memorization. The American devised curriculum. So the motive of the Americans was to conquer the Filipinos not only physically but also mentally. The curriculum was based on the ideals and traditions of America and her hierarchy of values. English was the medium of instruction. The primary curriculum consisted of 3 grades, which provides training in 2 aspects. The body training, which focuses on the physical education, and the mental training, which focuses on English, nature study, and arithmetic. So during the Commonwealth curriculum, this was considered as the period of expansion and reform of the Philippine curriculum. The educational leaders expanded the curriculum by introducing courses in farming, domestic science, and the like. So, based on Commonwealth Act 586, also known as the Educational Act of 1940, it now recognized the elementary school system. During the Japanese devised curriculum, they introduced many changes in the curriculum, by including the Pongo and abolishing English as the medium of instruction and as a subject. All textbooks were censored and revised. It caused blackout and impeded the educational progress of the Filipinos. During the liberation period, the curriculum remained the same as before and was still subject-centered. Steps were taken to improve curriculum existing before war, restored grade 7, abolished the double single session, and adopted the modern trends in education taken from the US. So during the Philippine Republic, an experiment that led to change was the school and community collaboration, which was pioneered by Jose V. Aguilar. There was the increased use of instructional materials that are Philippine-oriented. So based on Memorandum Number 30 in 1966, sets the order of priority in books for use in schools were as follows. Books which are contributions to Philippine literature, books on character education and other library materials, library equipment, and permanent features. So the most recent development in the curriculum in the Philippines is the implementation of the K-12, which covers kindergarten and 1 year of basic education, 6 years of primary education, 4 years of junior high school, and 2 years of senior high school. But before we had implemented the K-12, we also had implemented the following curriculum. First, we have the subject or the teacher-centered curriculum, which is based on subject. All knowledge is transferred through the subjects. Learner-centered curriculum. There is a link between courses and children's psychology. It is according to the interest and tendency of children. It brings together the cognitive, emotional, and environmental influences and experiences for acquiring, enhancing, or making changes in learners' knowledge, skill, values, and worldviews. Activity-based curriculum involves anything students do in a classroom other than merely passively listening to an instructor's lecture. Integrated curriculum refers to a non-compartmentalized approach. It is a learning theory describing a movement toward integrated lessons, helping students make connections across curriculum. Core curriculum refers to the heart of experiences every learner must go through. It is a course of study which is deemed central and usually made mandatory for all students of a school or school system. Collateral curriculum is designed intentionally to afford students the opportunity to learn empowering concepts and principles and ideas peripheral or outside the subject being taught. Null curriculum is that which is not taught in schools but sends a covert message about what is to be valued. Spiral curriculum is a curriculum as it develops should revisit these basic ideas repeatedly, building upon them until the student has grasped the full formal apparatus that goes with them. So revisiting the different curriculum implemented in our country, their aims, characteristics, and objectives will tell that they will fit into one or more curriculum designs mentioned above. So we also had implemented the program for decentralized education development, which is more of content-based. The basic education curriculum or the BEC and the secondary education development program or SEDP, which addresses the learner and learning process. We also have the National Elementary School Curriculum, or the NESC, which is the first research-based curriculum in the country. There were fewer learning areas and put emphasis on mastery learning. The new Secondary Education Curriculum, or the NSEC, focuses on the improvement of performance in science, math, and communications. In the year 2002, we also have implemented the BEC or the RBEC, which is the Revised Basic Education Curriculum, which focused on the basics of improving literacy and numeracy while inculcating values across learning areas to make it dynamic. It also puts emphasis on the use of integrative learning approaches. So in the year 2010, we also had implemented in the Philippines the UBD model, or the understanding by design, which has a main tenet in understanding versus facts, in which students must understand, not just to memorize facts. The most recent is the K-12 curriculum, which aims for holistic development and acquisition of 21st century skills. Curriculum is useless not unless it is implemented. Part of the implementation process is to decide what particular instructional design will be used. The instructional design and curriculum design is dependent on what kind of learner we have and the current trend in society exists. Therefore, as future curricularists, we must design a flexible curriculum that will cater the need of the present time, something that could be of use to everyone and will meet the aims, objectives, and goals of the Philippine education. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you all for listening. As for my references, so here are the references for my presentation. So again, thank you everyone for listening. Please stay safe. God bless everyone.